poppin', y'all? We back at it. It's your boy Shy L. Appreciate you for being here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Today I'm gonna start a series into something closer to home. Kind of like the Surviving El Chapo, Flores Twin Saga, a Chicago story. You know, my brother said something one day that stood with me. He said, all you need to get shot in Chicago is potential. And I feel like this story is that. And I feel like multiple people lost their lives in this story that didn't have to. And it's the story of Zack TV1. Zack TV1 was the hood CNN for Chicago. Got videos, early interviews with your favorite rappers, your Chief Keefs, your Little Dirks, all of that. Your FBG Ducks. He went hood to hood. He built a name for himself. He built a reputation for himself. He went hood to hood. And people respected him and respected what he was doing. He was hell-bent on being the Hood CNN. Hood 60 Minutes, like all of the above. He wanted to be there to document what was popping. Unfortunately, as the story ends for so many in Chicago, he ended up murdered. When it went down, there were a lot of questions. There were zero answers, but I'll tell you what there was in abundance. Rumor. People talking about it like they were absolute. People talking about things like they know things. The internet is flawed. Us as a people, we're flawed. Sometimes we talk about things that we have no clue about. We did not even the slightest bit of research about. Not understanding that from your bedroom in your crib, you can set fire to a rumor that can destroy lives just forever and upward. You don't realize that the things that you say at your computer, that the things that you comment on your phone, can ripple through reality and affect people's lives. Opinions are opinions. That's one thing. We don't have to agree. My opinion and yours can be completely different. Our perspectives are probably completely different. But to speak of my opinion as solidified, written in stone truth that leads to other people being murdered, that's bullshit. And I feel like that's what happened in this story. Popular Chicago independent music journalist was shot dead in his hometown. Press Freedom Group is urging police to investigate whether he was targeted because of his work. The Committee to Protect Journalists condemned the killing of Zack Stoner, who was fatally shot on May 30th. This was May 30th, 2018. No one has been arrested in his death. Stoner ran the YouTube channel Zack TV1, posting interviews with Chicago hip-hop stars and others in his community, focusing his reporting on the lives of people in the city's neighborhoods who rarely get coverage from mainstream media. Authorities should thoroughly investigate the murder of Zachary Stoner, including whether his journalistic work was the motive for his death. Alexandra Ellerbeck, CPJ's program coordinator for North America, said in a statement on June 6. Police spokesman Anthony Guglielmi told WGN-TV detectives are working to determine if Stoner was the target of the shooting and if there is a connection to his journalism. Here's what you need to know about Zack Stoner. Number 1. Stoner was shot in the head while driving after leaving a concert, crashed his Jeep, and died at a local hospital. Zack Stoner left the Refuge nightclub early Wednesday morning, May 30th, 2018, after attending a rap concert there. He was driving his Jeep down Clark Street in the South Loop neighborhood about 1:30 a.m. when another vehicle pulled alongside him and opened fire. Stoner was shot in the head and neck and crashed his Jeep into a light pole. He was rushed to Northwestern Memorial Hospital in critical condition and was pronounced dead about 4:30 a.m. A video recorded by a witness shows 3 people getting out of the car that opened fire on Stoner with someone yelling, "Let's go," before getting into a third vehicle and driving off. The vehicle used in the shooting was left at the scene. That don't even sound right. The vehicle used in the shooting was left at the scene. I believe that's wrong. I don't believe that's accurate. Even reporting, even mainstream media, mainstream reporting, these companies they got mad lawyers there specifically for this. They're supposed to go through checks and balances. They're supposed to have some kind of journalistic integrity. That shit don't fly no more. Most of the time, mainstream media goes off rumor themselves, if not creates the rumor themselves. But it just goes to show you that even the ones at the top that are supposed to be protecting the truth are spreading misinformation. And us as a society that's so quick to want to have the first information out there, to want to corner the market on information, that we move quick and then things like this happen. Something in the story gets written, like the vehicle used in the shooting was left at the scene, and I don't believe that's true. But we'll get there. I have a video of people yelling and fleeing the scene in the vehicle moments after the shooting. According to the Committee to Protect Journalists, detectives from the Chicago Police Department are still investigating Stoner's murder and are reviewing possible pod camera footage of the incident. No suspects are in custody. His friend Ford Robinson told WGN-TV, "I'm hearing stories like they may have been mad at him because he did interviews with certain rappers. But that's not his fault for him doing his job. I don't know why anyone would attack Zack and shoot him. He's not that type. He shows love to everybody in Chicago. Now let's start there. I'm hearing stories. Now this is the friend talking. Did he hear stories or is he just talking? Because everybody wants to feel like they know something. Nobody wants to feel like they're not that bright. So let's talk about the collective consciousness. Let's take 1,000 people. Do you think all of those 1,000 people are going to be critically thinking people, people that use logic, people that look for information, do research? Or is the majority of those people going to be people that first thought that comes to their head? All right, let's do this. Zack Stoner got killed. He used to videotape a lot of, a lot of rivals and be in different people's hoods back and forth. And, maybe that was it. Maybe they got mad at him. That's why most people don't tap into their creativity, and they should. Because what happens is you start pulling the thread and you start writing your own script of what happened in this man's life. And now you sit around in the barbershop and you sit around the water cooler and you're having these conversations. Next thing you know, these conversations become rumors. They become interviews on news channels. And now people are taking them as fact. Now the common sense, least path of resistance ideas, low-hanging fruit ideas become the truth. Nipsey Hussle, for instance. I heard the snitch story before I knew if he was dead or not. Yeah, he had a conversation with Eric Holder about being a snitch before I heard anything factual, whether he was really dead or alive or not. Who told us that story? Where did that story come from? Did that even happen? Or was that just something easy to say and then this person said it? And then that spread like a wildfire to that wildfire to that wildfire. And next thing you know, it become a part of the story, and it was never part of the story. It wasn't real. I'm hearing stories like they must have been mad at him because he did interviews with certain rappers. You know what? Them rappers be mad at him because he be interviewing their ops. That's it? We're going to stop right there? No, because the thread keeps going. We'll get there. We'll keep putting on that thread. Here we go. He shows love to everybody in Chicago. Robinson added, I don't know if they was personally shooting at him or if it was somebody he was with. I don't know what it was. All I know is my friend is gone. That was the answer right there, Mr. Robinson. But instead, we perpetuated what we hear in the hood. I'm hearing stories like they may have been mad at him because he did interviews with certain rappers. That would always be the first. Of course, that's going to be the first thought. There got to be thoughts after that. And we can't take these thoughts and make them fact and spread them through the hood and put other people in jeopardy because we thought we had the answers, when in reality we didn't know. His cousin Lamar Stoner told the CPJ he was going to different hoods, talking to rappers in places the media can't go, filming and recording and making sure the word got out on the street and around the world about what was going on. Number 2, he was a powerful voice in Chicago and called himself the Hood CNN and the best interviewer in the world. The Real Zack TV's Twitter as follows: 2 things define you: your patience when you have nothing and your attitude when you have everything. Alhamdulillah. Zack Stoner and his Zack TV 1 YouTube channel and social media accounts were well known in Chicago, and he was a powerful voice in the community, shedding light on stories that were rarely covered by the mainstream media, according to the Committee to Protect Journalists and those who knew him. He had more than 180 subscribers on YouTube and thousands of followers on Twitter and Instagram. In his Twitter profile, Stoner called himself the best interviewer in the world, adding, I've been to some of the most dangerous hoods in America with faith in God and the camera. Stoner's cousin Lamar Stoner told CPJ he was going to different hoods, talking to rappers in places the media can't go, filming and recording and making sure the word got out on the streets and around the world what was going on. Stoner had graduated from Corliss High School in the Pullman neighborhood, was profiled by the Chicago Defender in April, and he told the news outlet, a lot of people respect what I do. I'm the Hood CNN. A news station is one-sided. They'll get your full interview, but they'll cut it and edit and put whatever they want out. Whatever you say to me will get put out in full, no matter if it's positive or negative. I show both sides. So Zack wasn't going to do no editing. Raw footage. He told the Defender, I wanted to show the world the other side of Chicago. Back when I was growing up, we had Common and Kanye West. Those are great brothers and great entertainers, but I didn't think they represented Chicago the way that I've seen Chicago. I wanted to show the world what the other side of Chicago looks like. Our culture, the way we dress, what we eat, how we talk, how we walk. Morgan Elise Johnson, co-founder and creative director of The Tribe, a Chicago-based publication, told the CPJ she met with Stoner and his business partner Tony Woods in April. She told the CPJ his voice was so powerful in the hood, and I don't know if that power has something to do with his death. Number 3, Stoner helped give attention to the rapper Chief Keef, who was shot at in NYC on June 2nd, and I believe that was 2021, early on in his career. Stoner began posting videos on YouTube back in 2009, but his profile had grown significantly in recent years. The Chicago Defender's Charles Preston wrote about Stoner in April. Zack TV1's oldest footage is a candid 18-second clip entitled Summer Camp '09, a casual vignette of a group of young men rapping and beatboxing. It's oddly fitting that this is the channel's first video because it serves as a precursor for Stoner's content, raw, unfiltered, and centered on young black men. View Zack TV1's timeline in chronological order, and one can tell that Stoner started taking a more focused approach with his journalism. Candid videos turned into premeditated interviews. The random characters freestyling changed into full-fledged rap music videos. His coverage became more elaborate. His coverage became more deliberate than accidental. Stoner's efforts to unapologetically show the realities of his community does raise a question of ethics that comes with a great deal of pushback from many Chicagoans as well as traditional journalists. Stoner documents what others neglect and repeatedly interviews personalities who many had hoped would never grace a camera. His videos are not fluffy, glitzy, and sentimental documentary shorts. On the contrary, they're more like visceral punches to the gut that can leave you either inspired for change or disturbed by reality. In 2012, Stoner interviewed Chief Keef, who was a teenager and early in his rap career, helping to give him a spotlight. Chief Keef was shot at outside the W Hotel in New York City on June 2nd. Chief Keef was made into the symbol and what some would say the scapegoat of the violence that plagued Chicago from 2012 to 2014. Stoner could never have guessed that Chief Keef would be so famous to the point that he is the target of protests by Father Flagger, and arguably the most influential rapper of this current era of hip-hop. Preston wrote in April before Chief Keef was shot and Stoner killed. There's no indication the two shootings are connected. So why you keep mentioning it? Because that's what y'all do. Number 4, he received death threats after posting videos about the death of Kanika Jenkins, a Chicago teen who was found dead in a hotel freezer, leading to conspiracy theories. But authorities eventually ruled it an accident. In videos on his YouTube page, Stoner talked about the threats he received. He said in October 2017, a woman called him and warned him to leave the case alone. Leave it alone for your safety. Stoner said in a video he was not going to post interviews related to the case because his house was broken into. He said camera gear was stolen and he received other threatening phone calls and emails. He eventually posted interviews with Jenkins' family and friends in November. And number 5, Stoner was known as a peacemaker, often interviewing rival gang leaders and offering them an opportunity to settle their differences. The Real Zack TV's Twitter. You can be grinding 4 years with no results, and on the 5th year, you could become the biggest thing in the world. The power of never giving up is real as fuck. Shout out to the women who put their lives on the line for us every single day. While some people criticize Stoner for talking to gang members and giving them a platform, he, his business partners, and supporters said he was really a peacemaker who was trying to stop violence in Chicago by helping to settle differences, according to the CPJ. Stoner was about support and healing, not just reportage. He gave voice to Chicagoans who had none, squashed beefs between artists and cliques, and strove to create positive change in resource-deprived communities burdened by a history of systemic racism. It's impossible to count how many people he touched with this work, but after he was shot dead at age 30 on Wednesday morning in the South Loop, it seemed like all of Chicago began grieving. Quote, if you study Zack TV's interviews, you'll notice that at the end of them, I often ask, what can we do to resolve the violence in Chicago? End quote. But a lot of young men feel that the hood would look down on them if they wanted to fix the problem. Stoner told the Chicago Defender in April, a month before his death. A lot of people may look at these individuals like they're thugs, ghetto hoodlums, or nobodies. But to me, I look at each artist as a human being that is stuck in this box that they're trying to get out. When you're in the hood, ghetto, urban communities, whatever you want to call them, it's a way of life, but also survival tactics. Never judge a book by its cover. Never look down on the next man. So there you have it. Zack Stoner, 5 fast facts you need to know. I just wanted to give you insight into who he was and what people thought about him as a person. Now, you've heard people like the CPJ speak highly of Zack. Candidates for different offices in the city speak highly of Zack. And just in this interview, you've heard reporters and journalists speak highly of Zack. As I cover this, you're going to hear what some of you may think are the worst of the worst criminals of the world that respected and loved Zack. To some of you, these are your hood heroes, and they loved and respected Zack. We're just going to get into this unfortunate story. It was an unfortunate story, and it's a story that needs to be told. Thank you for joining us, and if you have yet to subscribe to the channel, please do. Peace.